Hello and welcome back to Health Science Unit 5 Disease Prevention. Today we'll be covering Unit 5.2 Modifiable and Non-Modifiable Risk Factors. Make sure you have your workbook and ready, and let's get started. Now let's have a look at our learning outcomes. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors for disease. First, let's start with our keywords. The first one will be risk factors, which is something that makes a person more likely to get a disease. For example, smoking or eating unhealthy food. Abdurrahman, what is risk factors mean?
Something that makes a person more likely to get a disease.
Excellent, Abdurrahman. Ibrahim, man, like what? Risk factors like what?
Like COVID-19.
Risk factors like what, Ibrahim? Like smoking or eating unhealthy food.
Unhealthy food.
Clear? Next, we have modifiable. This is something you can be changing. The opposite of modifiable is Mustafa Muhammad.
Modifiable can be changed.
The opposite of modifiable is non-modifiable, which is something that you can never change or you cannot be changing. The next keywords will be lifestyle changes. This means changing a long-term habit such as a diet or exercise. Why? To become what? To become what?
To become healthier.
To become healthier. Then we have ethnicity. Ethnicity, which is a large group of people with the same customs and organs. As you know, we have different ethnicities in today's world. The last keywords will be genetics. Genetics is also known as the science of heredity. It means how characteristics are passed from parents to children. One example of disease that can be passed from parents to children, like what, Abdurrahman?
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Excellent, Abdurrahman. Now let's start by talking about risk factors. Remember, risk factor, this is something that increases a person's chance of getting a disease. For example, like smoking and eating unhealthy food. But we should know the risk factors for disease. You have the greater your chance of getting the disease. For example, if someone is eating unhealthy food and he's not exercising, they have higher risk of developing heart disease. Risk factors can be categorized into two different types. Who can tell me the different types of risk factors? Ali Muhammad. Tell me.
Modifiable risk factors and non-modifiable.
Excellent, Ali Muhammad. Modifiable and non-modifiable. Ibrahim, what is the difference between modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors?
Okay, the modifiable, it can change by the modifiable is risk factors can be changed, that someone can change it, but the non-modifiable, its risk factor to the person can't change his habits.
Wonderful, Ibrahim. Risk factors can be categorized into two different types. First type is modifiable, and then we have the second type, which is non-modifiable. The first one is modifiable risk factors, which are the ones that can be changed. Then we have the second type is non-modifiable risk factors, which are the ones that we cannot change, or we have no control over. Clear? مصطفى محمد عبد العليم. Mustafa.
Yes.
Type of risk factors. Fill in the type of risk factors based on the description. Risk factors that you can change. This is Mustafa.
Yes.
Risk factors that you can change. This is repeat.
This factor that you can change.
This is Mustafa.
Modifiable.
Excellent. Modifiable risk factors. Abdurrahman Muhammad, risk factors that you cannot change. This is
Non-Modifiable.
excellent, Abdurrahman. Non-modifiable risk factor. Now let's have a look into this in detail. So, as we have just mentioned, modifiable risk factor is something that you have control, that you can change. This means that you can reduce your chance of developing certain disease, for example, by being more active or by eating healthier food. So, modifiable risk factor disease include the following. We have number one, sedentary lifestyle or lack of exercise or activity. Also, we have overweight and obesity or obese. So, people who are overweight or obese, they are more prone to developing some disease, especially heart disease. Then we have type 2 diabetes, as will can lead to some other health issues. Then we have smoking. This is the main cause of what? This is the main cause of lung cancer. As you know, we have as well high blood pressure and high blood cholesterol, and finally we have high stress level. So as you can see here, the common point between all these risk factors is this can be changed and they can be modified. Smoking, hypertension and obesity, and diet or diabetes. Ibrahim Main, tell me some examples of modifiable risk factors.
Okay, teacher. Like smoking and hypertension and obesity and diet and diabetes.
Okay, Ibrahim Main. Some examples of modifiable risk factors like sedentary or lifestyle, or lack of exercise, and being overweight or obese, and type 2 diabetes, and smoking, and high blood pressure or hypertension, and high blood cholesterol, and high stress levels. Now let's move to non-modifiable risk factors. Abdurrahman Muhammad, what is non-modifiable risk factors?
That you can the risks or the factors that you cannot control.
Excellent, Abdurrahman. Non-modifiable risk factor. There are certain risk factors that you cannot change because you have no control over them. Now let's look at some examples of non-modifiable risk factors. So non-modifiable risk factors include the following. Number one, we have gender. So you are at the higher risk of developing certain disease depending on what? Depending on whether you are male or female. Clear? Then we have age. As you get older, your risk for developing certain disease can increase. Examples like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease. Also, we have family history. Family history, also known as genetics. So, if a family member has a certain disease, it could mean you are more likely to develop the same disease. Examples, diabetes. So, if parents have diabetes, you have risk for developing the same disease. Then we have ethnicity. Ethnicity, some ethnic groups are more too likely to develop certain disease compared to other.
محمد جاسم حاضر يا أستاذ.
تمام محمد جاسم. Ali Muhammad, match the non-modifiable risk factors to the description. Ali Muhammad, first, gender.
Okay, gender, whether a person is a male or female.
Whether a person is male or female. Family history, Abdurrahman.
Information about family members' medical conditions.
Excellent, Abdurrahman. Age. Who can participate?
Me, teacher. Age means how old a person is.
How old a person is. Ethnicity. Who can? Muhammad Jasim.
لا أستاذ.
Ethnicity is and organ.
صوتك يقطع أستاذ.
Disease, if they are, look at the list of risk factor disease. If they are modifiable, symbol M, or non-modifiable, symbol non-M, NM, but a tick in the correct column. Gender, male or female. This is male or this is modifiable or non-modifiable?
Non-modifiable.
sedentary lifestyle or lack of exercise.
Modifiable.
Muhannad Ahmed Bitar, sedentary lifestyle is modifiable or non-modifiable?
Modifiable.
Type. Yeah.
Yes, teacher.
Type 2 diabetes, modifiable or non-modifiable risk factors?
Modifiable.
Age, Ali Muhammad. Age,
Non-modifiable.
modifiable. Or genetics. Muhammad Jasim.
Non-modifiable.
هذا أستاذ.
هلا محمد جاسم. Family history, modifiable or non-modifiable?
Modifiable.
Non-modifiable.
No, modifiable.
High blood pressure or hypertension, Abdurrahman. Abdurrahman, high blood pressure or hypertension?
Non-modifiable. It depends, Mister.
Yes?
It depends. Sometimes you get it by a family history and sometimes from your bad lifestyle.
High blood pressure or hypertension is
Modifiable.
modifiable or non-modifiable? Or hypertension is modifiable risk factors. Smoking, Ali Muhammad.
Modifiable.
Ali, smoking, modifiable or
Modifiable.
non-modifiable?
Modifiable.
Being overweight or obese?
Modifiable.
Muhammad Ahmed Bitar. Ethnicity
Non-modifiable.
is non-modifiable risk factors. You hear the voice? You hear the voice?
Yes.
By now you're able to explain modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors for disease. Otherwise, pause the video and go back to review any information that you are not sure about. So now let's recap on today's lesson. Who can tell me the summary for the lesson? Who can tell me summarize for this lesson?
We talked about risk factors.
Yes. What else? Ali Muhammad.
We talked about risk factors, and there is two types of risk factors, modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors. Modifiable as smoking and weight and your lifestyle. Non-modifiable as your age and your ethnicity and your family history. Yeah.
Excellent, Ali Muhammad. Ibrahim Man.
Yes, teacher.
Tell me summarize for this lesson.
I learned there is two types of, and it's the modifiable risk and non-modifiable risk. The modifiable risk can't change. Looks like smoke and diet and hypertension and pressure. But the non-modifiable risk is some habits cannot change. Looks like the family history, the genital, and the age.
Excellent, Ibrahim Man. Any student you have question for this lesson? Thank you.